Hi everyone, Tim Brown. Welcome back to my Apple Podcast, the podcast that makes a personal connection to everything Apple. The latest video I posted on YouTube offered a review of iMovie, and I began to give some thought to my review and decided to compare the current version for iOS 7 with iOS 6. So let's take a look. Okay, this is iMovie for iOS 6, and what do you notice right away? Skeuomorphism. That's right, you have an actual theater that is represented here, complete with neon lights the whole 9 yards. There's a plus symbol at the bottom, and you get the little pop-up that gives you the option to start a new project or to start a new trailer. Now let's take a look at how all of this has changed with iOS 7. This is iOS 7. No marquee, no neon lights, nothing. Skeuomorphism has been eradicated. And instead we just have a plain dark charcoal background with a black border along the top. And let's go ahead and zoom in so you can actually see what's actually here. So instead with iOS 7, we just have a line of text right down the middle. It says tap plus to start a new movie or trailer. And you'll see up above you have 3 options to select video, projects, or theater. You'll notice in the right hand corner the share button and the plus symbol that will then take you to your new project. Now what's different, of course, is that theater is a third option with the iOS 7 version, and this is where you will be able to find all of your shared projects. Now when you start a new iMovie project, this is how it looked when you were in iOS 6. Your media was on the left hand side, and you had the option to access video, access photos, or music. And that includes the theme music that comes built into the iMovie library. Now, another thing that you notice too that Apple has completely eliminated is the gradient bars along the top and the bottom, which create the illusion of actual objects because they're rendered in 3 dimensions. Now let's take a look at the new version in iOS 7. You'll notice that we're not even at the stage yet because we didn't get a pop-up option in iOS 7 to choose a new movie, a new trailer in the initial screen. So we actually have some additional screens that have been added to give the user more options. So in this case, we're now given the option to choose either a movie or trailer. And then when we choose a new movie, we're now presented with the same options that we would typically get when we were starting a trailer. If you remember in iOS 6, when you started a new trailer, you could see thumbnail views of the potential themes or templates that you could use. And now that same concept has been carried through to iMovie, so you can choose your theme ahead of time. So essentially what Apple is trying to do here is enhance the user experience by providing more information to the user. And once you choose your theme, then you enter into your project. And wow, what a difference. You can barely recognize it. Of course, one thing that's obvious that now your media is on the right hand side as opposed to the left. The viewfinder is on the left hand side and the timeline is down below. But everything is done in simple shades of gray and black. And what's obvious, the gradient bars along the top and along the middle just above the timeline have been completely eliminated. Okay, returning back to the iOS 6 version of iMovie, importing video is pretty much the same. You tap on a video in your library and the arrow appears, which then drops the file right into your timeline. And even here though, Apple has made some adjustments. So when we move to iOS 7 and we go to import a video into our project, you can see that now in addition to the option to drop the video into your timeline and or to play the video, you now have dots along the side as a third option. And when you open that up, you can now choose overlay options. Okay, let's consider some more changes. So let's go back to iOS 6 now, iMovie version, and you're looking at the video in the timeline. You can see the audio track along the bottom, and when you double tap on the video clip, you would get this dialog window that then gives you access to the title, style, location, and you can also control the volume level as well, or choose to delete the clip at this point. Okay, now when we look at the iOS 7 version, you can see that Apple has cleaned up the look a bit. You don't see the audio part of the video track. You have to tap on it, and then you're given a menu of options. Options that are a lot more varied than in the previous version, as you can see. For example, if I tap on the video label at the bottom, you see I have a number of options. To the bottom right, I can add a title, adjust the speed. I can split the clip by just simply selecting it and splitting it. I'm going to undo that. Also have the option to freeze frame or duplicate it, all from a menu that appears along the bottom. This is something we did not have before. As you recall in the previous version, if you wanted to split a clip or if you wanted to create a freeze frame, you had to use the swiping gestures up and down the clip to produce that effect. It did not show up as a menu option anywhere within the iMovie interface. And you can see right next to video, you can select audio and you can choose to control the volume at this point. And you have the option to detach the audio as a menu option on the bottom right. Now let's take a look at the project settings. The project settings in iOS 6 were located in the top right corner under the settings icon. In iOS 7, the settings icon has been redesigned and is now located on the bottom right. The only thing that is similar is that all the themes are still the same. One thing you do notice though, and this is very subtle, but the gradient bar once again, which was evident in iOS 6 at the very top of the theme menu, has been eliminated, and now you just have a completely flat black background encasing the thumbnails. Now in terms of adding title to your project, in both iOS 6 and iOS 7, you're limited to the themes that you have chosen for your project to determine the style of your title, whether it's going to be an opening title, a middle title, or a closing title. In iOS 7, however, Apple introduced an additional feature that is a welcoming change to iMovie. So for example, if I go ahead and select title along the bottom here, you see I still have the option to choose opening, middle, or closing, but instead of choosing the thematic title, which appears here, there's another option on the bottom right corner. There's a T encased in a box. If you select that T, you'll see that you get 9 animated titles. You can choose to add one of those animated titles to your project. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and choose focus along the bottom. And you can see that that is now added to my project independent of the theme. This adds more flexibility to iMovie that we did not have before. So to see what this looks like when I play it back, you see it has a nice animated effect. And you can even have the option to control whether you want that title to play an audio effect, which is in some cases a swishing sound, or you can just choose to just silence the audio, which is located adjacent to the T icon on the bottom right. In iOS 6, it was very easy to add theme music to your project, but in iOS 7, you have a lot more flexibility. So for example, let me go ahead and just add a soundtrack to my project here, and you can see I have a nice thin line that lands below my video track. When I tap on it, it widens. I can control the volume level at that point, the speed, but I also can choose to add a fade toward the end. This is something that we could not do in the previous version. So for example, if I scroll toward the end of my project here, tap on the audio file down below and choose fade, I could then take that yellow triangle and just drag it. And this will determine the degree of the fade I will get toward the end of that track. This is a wonderful addition. Again, we did not have this flexibility when controlling audio files in our iMovie projects. And furthermore, when you tap on the audio track and then tap on the 3 dots in the bottom right corner, you'll see that you also have even more options. For example, here you can choose to split your audio track. Again, that was a flexibility you did not have in the previous version, or move the sound to the foreground or background. So in summary, Apple has eliminated the gradient bars and all of those associations with skeuomorphism and simplified the design. Apple has also chosen to introduce a lot of new features, including the flexibility to edit audio tracks and add titles to your project. Apple has also added some clarification to how you integrate themes by giving you the option to preview those themes ahead of time before entering your project. Well, it has been fun comparing iMovie for iOS 6 and iOS 7. if you are one of those individuals who have been reluctant to download the latest version, maybe this episode will encourage you to do so. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of my Apple Podcast. My name is Tim Brown. Check me out next time.